It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So let's begin our journey into your work by asking you this. 5 years ago, the pandemic was really getting heavy. Lots of things changed, lots of unknowns. How did you ultimately survive the pandemic, and how has it reverberated into the way that you live your life today?
Yeah, oh, that was a time, wasn't it? So when the pandemic hit, I all of a sudden had, kids at home, like a lot of parents did, and having to supervise school at the same time as living life and working and stuff. And so during that time, in the October before the pandemic hit, I started writing a book about the plague of 1665. And through the pandemic, I wrote a book about a plague with my son sitting beside me doing his, elementary school schoolwork. And so we really had a side by side. I was working, he was doing school. And at that time, I thought, man, nobody is ever going to want to read a book about a plague after going through this. And 5 years later, the book is out. It's published with a traditional publisher. And it really taught me that don't overthink what you're doing creatively, because if it is if it's good, it's going to find a place out in the world. And don't give up on a project just because you think there are future roadblocks that you can't control. Do what you want to do for you. Do that project. Start the drawing, write the book, start planning the music, because in the moment you need that creative outlet. But the business of it, the business of selling it or business of finding a place in the world, that's a future problem that will kind of take care of itself when it happens. And it really showed me that work on what brings you passion today and deal with the business of where it's going to land later.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis here in 2025. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids, and it's career day. They're 12 years old, and they're like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I am a children's book author. Easy. I am a children's book author. 5 word answer.
That's it.
I write stories for kids, and every day, my day is kind of set up in that I, do my errands and running around. But then I have office hours where I sit down and I'm researching a story, or I'm interviewing someone about a story, or I'm writing it, or I'm doing edits. And I have picture books, nonfiction books, chapter books, and middle grade books. And so those are my genres that I write to. And I have 14 books published as of now. 17 books are going to be ultimately published between now. I've like by 2026, because some books are, in editing process and will be rolling out in future.
So, what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream life?
You know what? When I was 12 years old, I wanted to be an author.
Okay.
And, fast forward, I made it happen. There were other jobs in between then and now. But I always really loved books. And it was interesting that, that was, where I ended up landing now.
What was your favorite book as a kid? What was your favorite children's book or book in general?
Oh, that gets my wheels rolling. I was very much in a like I was a Judy Blume reader as a young kid growing up. And I remember getting Little Women when I was far too young to read Little Women, and it was so above like my reading level that I never actually got to enjoy it. But and then in high school, I read everything and was like editor of the school newspaper and thought this is what I'm going to do. But then, as when I graduated from university and stuff, I had to like have a real world job and worked in, offices and corporations and that sort of stuff. But always had a book on the side on the go.
So, take me back to where you were born and raised. What were the foundational elements of you becoming a children's book author? What were the things, the seeds that were planted that eventually were harvested and evolved into who you are today?
Oh, well done. Great question, because
Thank
that's
you.
something you don't really think about. I grew up where I still live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I think the greatest seed was that the fact that my parents were readers themselves and role modeled a lot of, reading newspapers, reading books, always having something on the go. And school was not um it wasn't pushed on us, but there was an expectation that you were to do your best in like the most supportive, wonderful way of, you don't get punished for bad grades, but bring your best to whatever you do. And that's certainly something that has, been instilled in me. And it was just so quietly instilled where it wasn't like, we're gonna, deep dive into your report card or anything. It was do your best in everything you do, whether it's, being a really good friend or being a really good girl guide or being good at school. There was a very quiet expectation of don't be lazy in your life. And I think that's something that really, that serves me every single day in everything that I do now.
So, who's been a hero? Who's been an inspirational force for you to become who you are?
Oh my gosh, my parents, my mom and dad, obviously, they're, the greatest. And also, funnily now, my children, because there's role reversal in you see them and I see them going through challenges and worries and anxieties and being on the other side of it, being like, you know what, I know you can get through that because I, got through something similar to it. And it's an interesting role model in that I see what they're doing and the pain they're going through right now in this moment, and knowing that God just push through because it'll work out in the end, and having that experience of, look, you did it. Like, well, I'm so proud of you that you were able to get through that. And it shows me that, I can get through things because, they're getting through their things too.
So, what was it like the first book that you released and you got it on your doorstep? You opened it up and you got to see come to fruition. What was that moment like for you?
There was a whole lot of ignorance before I got to that moment, which I am actually really thankful for because being ignorant is a great way to travel along a path that you don't know that you're doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know how, the challenges that other people were having trying to get their books published. And I didn't know that, people went to college to take children's book courses in order to educate themselves. I really just self-educated myself on the fly. And I'm really grateful for having had that be part of my journey because I didn't have the pressure of I should be hitting these milestones or I should be trying to find an agent or anything. And so when I finally got my book deal, I remember I was out with some high school friends and I got an email after having pitched it around a lot. Um, and then going through the process of, okay, now I have a contract. Okay, now I have to do editing and not having done any of that before, but learning on the job. And it was a really good experience of ignorance is bliss, where you kind of get ignorant that I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm kind of like fake it till you make it, in a great way because there was no pressure. Like now that I've written more books, there's more pressure because I feel more pressure now
Yeah.
than I did back then. Because now I feel like there are expectations. And if I don't have a book coming out next year, man, that must mean I'm a failure. Like I've, I've outdated whatever I've done. But back then it was wonderful that, there weren't any expectations and it was just every single moment was a celebration in itself of, hey, I got a book contract. Hey, I wrote a manuscript. Um, and like the times in between, it's never been quite as exciting as that very first book.
Yeah, I imagine. So, if you can meet anybody on the planet right now, whether it's in your field or otherwise, and spend a little time with them, who would you love to meet and talk to?
Oh, I was asked that recently. You know what? Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay.
Which not a living person,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Yeah.
so interesting in that he was just a master of so many different fields and came from, humble beginnings and rose up so well in his life. It's like that would be a wonderful lunch date. It would be really amazing to have a cup of coffee with him.
So my uncle Rico, who's passed, he was a wonderful man. They lived in Long Island, and his hero was Leonardo da Vinci. I didn't realize it. I was getting ready to go to Italy, and I picked
Mm.
up a bust for him of Da Vinci. I went to actually Da Vinci, Italy, and it was awesome.
Oh,
And
cool.
it was like marble and from Italy, and it was a really good bust. So anyway, yeah, because I was surprised when he told me that too. I didn't expect that. Like, just there could have been anybody, and whenever, I heard Da Vinci, I was like, that's interesting. So anyway, so let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and ran into yourself as a teenager, getting ready to charge out
Mm.
into the world, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated, what advice would you impart?
Oh, wow. Worry less. Worry less
Yeah.
because I am an anxious person, like so many people, and I'm like overplan and think 5 steps ahead, and not only worry about what I'm doing, but worry about what other people think I'm doing, sort of thing. And if I could go back, it'd just be like take a breath, just enjoy enjoy what you're doing right now. Work hard to get to where you want to be, but you don't need to, be freaking out, or you don't need to be stressing over every single step.
So if you were to walk into a room of everybody that knows you in a professional sense as a writer and an illustrator and being in this book world, and you could tell that room a fun story about you, a fun fact. You wrestled an alligator, you jumped out of an airplane, the first concert you saw, you outran a
Mhm.
bear. What story would you tell that room of people that might translate really good into kind of a mini children's book?
Oh, well, I went to Mexico and I climbed Chichen Itza, which is a Mayan pyramid.
Yeah.
And this was back in the days where you could climb it. You can't climb it anymore.
Yeah.
And going up, I was like, no problem. And we walked up it, but it's super steep. And when we got to the top, it's like, I can't come back down. Like,
Oh,
so I came down backwards on my hands and knees,
wow.
as did a woman who, a stranger, no idea who this woman was, but she was also coming back down on her hands and knees. And the people around us were like, laughing, going, come on, guys, like you could walk it down. And we were both like, no, we can't. But you know what? We're still going down.
That's
It
it.
doesn't matter how you get down there. We're gonna be down, like.
Yeah.
And me and the stranger, we were like totally cheering ourselves on, going, there's no embarrassment in
Yep.
this. It's totally fine. Like
Totally.
we're in this together. Let's go. And that would make a great children's book
That
because
would.
it's like doesn't matter how you come down, it's how you're getting
That's it.
down.
That's it. That's awesome. So I think I saw a viral clip of somebody that was climbing that all the locals were screaming, no, 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 because of the erosion and everything that goes into it. I mean, it just
Yeah,
denigrates
yeah.
the stone. Yeah.
Well,
So,
and it's a super dangerous safety issue right
yeah.
now. Like it is far too steep to be walking up and down. And
Yeah.
people with accessibility issues, if you get up there, you got to call the fire department. Like,
Yeah. I I
yeah.
I went to Manitou Springs in Colorado, right outside of Colorado Springs, and they have an incline, and my stepdaughter and I went up that. I'd never done anything like that, and that was pretty cool, And there was
How
people
was
that
it
were going.
coming down?
It wasn't bad. It was, I mean, it felt good because it was the downspring, and you had a little bit more energy to come down, but it was cool. Whenever you can accomplish something like that, it's fun. It's definitely fun.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
of everything that you've done, accomplished, evolved into in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Oh, family. Having
Yeah.
family is the best accomplishment. Having parents and kids and aunts and uncles and all that stuff. That's the best.
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, all of your fans, everyone that knows you, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, super worrywart, but very organized, very good at juggling priorities. I get lost in a box. I'm terrible at navigation, but I'm also very reliable.
What's the best thing about living in Toronto, Canada?
Oh my goodness. I would say healthcare.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
I would agree.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and
no, Canada, Toronto especially, it's a very diverse city.
yeah.
We have a lot of different people, a lot of different cultures, and for the most part, it's very welcoming, very accepting, and you can like learn a lot from your neighbors, and it's a really, really good community in that way that we're very tolerant, accepting, very, very diverse.
Are you happy with the new leadership that's in now?
Yeah, so far, like it's only
Okay.
been a couple weeks, but yeah, yeah.
What's his name?
Carney, Prime
Seems like a
Minister
good
Carney.
dude. I like him. Yeah, I like that he's not gonna back down against the forces of darkness, and he's going for it. I've always loved the way the Canadians roll, from healthcare to the musicians get grants. Anytime a calamity happens in America, Canadians respond before we do, if we ever do. There's just a lot of very valorous things. And to have someone that has that level of moral fortitude, it's very reassuring that the whole world's not going crazy. So,
Yeah, the stereotype of Canadians being really polite and nice people is very true. Like that,
yeah.
for the most part, we are. And Carney, I must say, he had a really good resume, like being president of the Bank of Canada and president of the Bank of England. Like he certainly, his resume is quite good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. And if anybody wants to get your books, they want to reach out, they have any questions, any of the good work in your world, where do they go?
So yeah, I should say my latest book, Asha and Baz meet Gladys West, right here.
Yeah.
It just came out this past week, so happy book birthday to that. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky. My username is at Parent Club
Okay.
because I used to be a family blogger and my blog was Parent Club. But also my website is carolinefernandez.ca.
Okay, excellent. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time and story. Best of luck with everything.
Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you. Hello, friends. Joe Dimino here. I just wanted to let you know that after 30 years or so, I have finally released my first book of poetry through the mighty Spartan Press here in Kansas City, Missouri. As the creator and host of both Neon Jazz Radio and the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino podcast, along with being a visual artist, I'm ready to embark on a new adventure and want you to be a part of it. You can get a copy online via Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and actually on the streets in Kansas City at the great Prospero's bookstore off 39th Street. You can also visit joedimino.com for links to the book, to more poetry, and everything in my world, including paintings. Thanks for all of the love and support over the years, and please dig the words.